Welcome to Sportskeeda MMA once again for part 2 of our list of the top 10 cockiest UFC fighters. In the last video, we saw names like Sean O'Malley and Conor McGregor suffering the consequences of selling their confidence a little too much, but who in the UFC has done it worse? Number 5. Tony Ferguson. The former interim UFC lightweight champion was once the most dominant force in the division next to lightweight GOAT Khabib Nurmagomedov. His unorthodox fighting style, toughness, and cardio were perfect representations of his frantic personality. Apart from the octagon highlights, Ferguson has had some of the funniest moments behind the camera, especially when he told Kevin Lee he was going to make him verbally tap. However, Ferguson never created a character. His personality was his own, which carried him through a 12-fight rampage that put him right into championship contention. Ferguson believes without a shadow of a doubt that he was and still is one of the best lightweights in the world. However, fans have started to lose faith in that idea. Even after losing to Justin Gaethje at UFC 249 in a fight that some fans consider to be Ferguson's career-ending moment, El Cockiest still takes to social media to emphasize his champ shit-only lifestyle. But he just hasn't shown that championship caliber in the octagon as of late. He is, after all, on a 3-fight losing skid, yet he still has the urge to call out the undefeated Khamzat Chimaev. The future is uncertain for Tony Ferguson, but there are rumors he may fight soon in 2022. Do you think Tony Ferguson could back up his frequent social media spats and actually win a fight again in his career? Number 4. Dominick Cruz. The former UFC bantamweight champion has been dubbed by the internet as the Sun Tzu of mental warfare, and for good reason. His deadpan delivery of facts and scorched earth insults were some of the most entertaining moments in UFC history. For years, Cruz ran through the bantamweight division with this swagger, and not many fighters could pose a threat to his reign until he fought Cody Garbrandt. At the height of his hubris, Cruz was a devout believer that Garbrandt's knockout power posed absolutely no threat to his fleet-of-foot fighting style, even claiming that Garbrandt being a knockout artist would work against him in the title fight. Cruz was definitely not the Nostradamus of mental warfare. Garbrandt would go on to batter the Dominator with lightning-fast boxing at UFC 207. After this fight, fans would not see Cruz compete in the octagon for 4 years, and when he did come back, he was TKO'd by Henry Cejudo at UFC 249. Cruz is now on a 2-fight win streak and has mostly shifted his silver-tongued talents to starting beef with Daniel Cormier at the commentary desk. Number 3. Luke Rockhold. The former Ralph Lauren model and UFC middleweight champion was always known to assure fans that his opponents did not possess the same God-given abilities as he did. Rockhold was a talented finisher who used his seasoned striking and suffocating grappling, and he never missed an opportunity to remind the media of that. In the lead-up to his first title defense against Michael Bisping at UFC 199, Rockhold all but looked past the Englishman, calling him just an average bloke. Before his fight with Yoel Romero at UFC 221, Rockhold never let his foot off the gas pedal. Anytime he was asked about Romero's wrestling abilities, Rockhold clapped back with statements about how MMA was a different world and that Romero wasn't ready for his level of grappling. Before his fight with Jan Blachowicz at UFC 239, Rockhold looked past the pride of Poland, calling him stiff and all he could get as an opponent. What do all 3 of these opponents have in common?
I know that I'm better than this.
Sounds like
I know that I'm going to knock him out.
You've ever read. Conceive, believe, achieve.
They're conceived, believed, and achieved knocking Luke Rockhold out cold. Now Rockhold is looking to push past the injuries and regain the glory he had when he was a champ. Does Luke Rockhold stand a chance against today's middleweight division? Number 2. Chael Sonnen. Everyone's favorite uncle is arguably one of the pioneers of MMA bravado and trash talk. An ultimate wordsmith with the power to leave any and all opponents completely stumped behind the microphone. No matter who he was facing in the octagon, Uncle Chael made sure that every fan got memorable sound bites. It's no secret that Sonnen paved the way for a new era of UFC personalities that have found his marketing formula a successful strategy in their careers. But like every other fighter on this list, Sonnen sometimes overestimated his own ability and left fans stunned at just how inflated his ego could get. From calling Anderson Silva the most boring fighter in the company, to predicting that he would beat a hole into the great Fedor Emelianenko's face for 15 minutes. even claiming at one point that the UFC GOAT John Jones would have a makeout session with his fist for 25 minutes. In all these quips, Sonnen eventually ended up getting finished in the octagon, but he also guaranteed that fans would tune in. Sonnen's personality was simply good for business, and he knew it. Chael Sonnen to this day is undefeated and undisputed in the eyes of the fans. The biggest arms in West Lynn, Oregon can now be found on YouTube cursing your favorite fighters by making fight predictions that are almost always wrong. Number 1. Anderson Silva. The Spider was known for knocking fighters out left and right while making it look effortless. For years, the former UFC middleweight champion held onto his title with a certain flow about him. Yet his personality never translated into press conference moments. Silva never really felt the need to trash talk because he believed his performances spoke for themselves. Silva kept up his octagon showmanship for an astounding 10 title fights, with only 2 of those bouts going to decision. It seemed as though he was unstoppable, with no fighter on earth that could keep up with his speed and accuracy. Silva knew nobody could touch him. This led to some of the most memorable finishes of all time. In the famous title defense against former champ Chris Weidman at UFC 162, Silva's arrogance reached an all-time high. Fans saw the Spider taunt Weidman multiple times, even putting his hands down, making it obvious that he thought Weidman stood no chance. Remarkably, the All-American eventually found the chin, and at that moment, changed Anderson Silva's career forever. This is one of those horrible lessons in life, the ultimate humiliation. Silva would go on to lose the next 7 out of 9 fights and retire from the UFC a shell of his former self. At least fans got to see the Spider redeem himself by knocking out the mayor of Huntington Beach, Tito Ortiz. Thanks for watching. For more MMA content just like this, please subscribe to Sportskeeda MMA.